Anti-vax or anti-vax mandate. College students across the higher education system are protesting mandatory COVID vaccinations in order to return to the schools in the fall. Lydia Hu is at an organized student demonstration. It's at Rutgers University in New Brunswick, New Jersey. Lydia.
David, this group here is speaking out against Rutgers University vaccine mandate for students. Mostly they say they don't oppose the vaccine, but they oppose a mandate that takes away student choice. Today's event is hosted by a libertarian student group called Young Americans for Liberty, as well as Turning Point USA. Take a look behind me because you can see several hundred people are gathered here, and what includes students, parents, relatives, and others from New Jersey, including local lawmakers. One of the student organizers tells me she may actually get the vaccine herself, but she wants the freedom to make that choice. Watch this.
We are not allowing students to make the personal decisions for themselves. I'm not anti-vax. I'm anti-mandate, and I believe that I have the right and I need the time to make the correct decision. We should not be discriminating students against whether or not they want to take the vaccination. We should be recommending it, not mandating it.
Back in March, Rutgers University became one of the first colleges in the country to mandate the vaccine for students. And since then, more than 380 colleges and universities have followed suit, issuing similar policies. Now, the Rutgers policy does allow students to seek an exemption based on religious or health reasons. And when we contacted a spokesperson, they told us that the school is, quote, committed to creating a safe campus environment. And they went on to say that this policy is consistent with the legal authority. Now, still, students tell me today that it's important for them to speak out against this mandate. They want the administration to hear their views. In fact, some students that are attending today tell me that if this mandate is fully enforced, they will leave school. They will transfer to another school or university before they get the vaccine this fall. David, back to you.
Interesting. Lydia Hu, thank you very much. Well, here now to discuss is Angela Morabito. She is a campus reform fellow and former U.S. Department of Education press secretary. Good to see you. Thank you for being here, Angela. Are colleges getting ahead of science on this?
They're ahead of science, and they're certainly ahead of the FDA, which has not yet granted full approval for the COVID vaccine. And while Operation Warp Speed has yielded very exciting results, I can tell you I was excited to go get my shot. The FDA has a detailed and lengthy process for approving vaccines. So if we want to trust the science here, that means being patient until the science has shown some more results.
Well, we all know that the younger you are, the more likely, first of all, you are to survive COVID if you get it. But even to get severe symptoms if you get the disease. So I think a lot of students are saying we should have the choice of whether we want to suffer the consequences of COVID or, in fact, worry about long-term effects of a vaccine. And again, a lot of these vaccines employ a very new technology, right?
That's right. It's not just a new vaccine, it's a new type of vaccine. This is the first mRNA vaccine that's been widely available to the public. And while that has shown great promise and it's very exciting, it's also a deeply personal decision where people are weighing risks and rewards. Students are rightfully bristling at the idea that their university thinks they get a vote here. These colleges are some of the first businesses in America who are saying, regardless of what we require for our employees, we're going to require the customers, our students, to either show up with the shot or go home.
Now, a lot of these colleges and universities are private institutions. You have the choice to either go there and accept their rules or not. So it's a matter, you still have the choice. I mean, you can, as Lydia was just reporting, some of these students say if they are forced to get the vaccine, they will not go. They'll transfer to some college that doesn't require them. So there is still choice to that degree, no?
That's right. And at Campus Reform, we're hearing from students every day who say, just like the student you spoke to, that they want to get the shot. They're just really troubled by the fact that their university feels entitled to make that decision on their behalf. They're in college to learn how to be productive adults and good American citizens. And if we want to train great adults, we got to let them make these adult medical decisions for themselves.
Angela, I want to switch gears a little bit to something that has been highlighted by the pandemic as we focused on teachers' unions and what they were doing with regard to these mandates and their refusal to get back in even when everybody said it was safe, all the scientists said it was safe. We're also getting word now of what goes on inside the classrooms. These teaching methods that are being used, the 1619 Project, the critical race theory, et cetera. There is a lot of pushback in America against these programs now. It was all highlighted by the pandemic. Maybe it was one of the good things. Parents finally took more of an interest in what was going on inside the classroom, right?
If there's a silver lining to this COVID pandemic, perhaps, for all the tragedy it's been there, it's also exposed what's been going on in our classrooms. Critical race theory started on college campuses. It took root there. And we just witnessed a watershed moment in this debate at UNC just days ago. They were going to offer Nicole Hannah-Jones, author of the 1619 Project, a tenured position before she had ever taught a class. And look, tenure is a tremendous privilege, and this is liberal privilege on display, that instead of going through the 7 to 8 year process, they were going to fast track her and essentially give her a lifetime position where she's immune from accountability and criticism. Now, the UNC Board of Trustees stepped in and said taxpayers are not going to stand for this. We're not denying her a platform. She has every right to use her voice on campus, and she's actually going to be teaching there for 5 years. But to send her to the front of the line for tenure when her journalistic body of work has some serious errors would have been a tremendous misstep.
Right. And by the way, historians on both the left and the right have said that a lot of what's in 1619 is just historically inaccurate. I mean, do you get an award like tenure, a lifetime tenure for coming out with something that historians say is wrong? It just didn't make any sense. I'm glad there was pushback. Angela, great to see you. Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.